Welcome back to the Restoration Valve channel, and for today's video we're tackling the rear bearing. Maybe you can hear it in the video. You can hear that we have done our last kilometers on it. There is a little bit of movement when you move it side to side, and also you can hear, and I don't know if you can hear it in the video, but in live you can hear it's a little bit too loud. So what we need to do is remove the caps, remove the wheel. Before we can do that, we need to remove the caliper, but before I do that, I'll be pushing the brakes so I can release the wheel bolts. After these two guys are off, we need to take off the brake disc and disassemble this face of the rear differential. After we get off the front plates, then we can get the gear out, repress the bearings. So let's get into it. So maybe let's try this method. Maybe this will work also. Yep, works.
The power in this old gal is a thrill. Gonna have to beef up the clutch. Gonna rebuild my BMW. My BMW K1200.
Most likely now you can hear the bearing. Yeah, needs to be replaced. Yeah, there's not that much side-to-side movement, but end of its life. Interesting. Judging by the almost stripped bolt heads, looks like we're not the first ones that are getting off the brake disc. So maybe somebody already has done something to this rear hub.
Clean the carbs and got new jets.
So before we strip out more of the existing bolts, let's try a little bit of heat.
And brakes and lights, but she already starts right up. The power in this old gal is a thrill.
And what's behind door number one? Yeah, the seal doesn't look that bad, but this might be just oil just from the front, because the front telescopic fork was leaking, so maybe it's just oil that's thrown on here. So it doesn't look bad, but yeah, hard to say now. But we'll see how the bearing looks. So let's just loosen you and see if we can even add oil back to you. Looks like this isn't even the original bolt, because it should be a hex head, not a ordinary 19mm. Yeah, looks like the threads are good. Most likely somebody stripped out the head of the original bolt and added this one, but if it works, then it's all good. So, are you the same? Yep, just the same. So let's take you out. Looks like the oil is full, but and go. Yep, this hasn't been changed in a while. Quite dark. Ooh. And you can see there's a lot of things on the magnet. So the idea is to use this kind of a puller. It has teeth that could go in this small edge, grab it and pull it out. And we just need to see where could we put these two on, because we have one solid surface here with ball ends and a recess here. Maybe we can just put it on this edge, because it looks like it's the best, strongest positions that we. Yeah, you can see the teeth are barely dripping on, but let's hope that it's enough to pull the race out. Let's just chin you up, and let's start putting you guys on. Something. And what are we doing? Oh, it snapped out. So we have grabbed the race and it's slowly coming out.
I'm waiting for parts in the mail. I don't even know if it's going to run. That's my motorcycle garage.
And it's out. Nice. And how do you look? Cool. It has some wear marks, but yeah, it's a little bit pitting on the surface, so yeah, it's a good thing that we're changing the race also. Yeah, this spot doesn't look, that's not so bad, but yep. Yeah, I can see there's pitting in the race, please. There's no chance that the conical bearing would survive after a long time. So that's pulled. Let's just, since we're here already, let's just put the new race in and continue on the big gears. Yeah, and of course I couldn't get the BMW parts just in time, because these parts at least could arrive next day and it's the same quality. So this is a NTN Japanese bearing, another Japanese bearing, and the big oil seal, and yep, looks like I got the correct one. So at least this is correct. What about this bearing? So far it looks the same height, same diameter. Yeah, so let's press the new one in. So this isn't the best way to install the bearings, but at least it's a way to do it. Yeah, now you can see more closely. The old conical gear race has some pitting in it. It's not dust, it's just damage to the surface. Looks like it could be the original one. Germany. Of course there won't be any BMWs on it, and SKF bearings. So I hope that no German will mind that I'm putting in some Japanese bearings, because at least those were the bearings that I could get on a short notice. So yep, good things that we're replacing both of them. The way you take out this, I'm just taking 2 pieces of wood. Let's place them here and put you on your face, so that the gear, yeah, you can now hear. So, and that's out. So whilst we're here, it's very important not to lose these shims, because these shims tension the differential, and also it moves the pinion and the gear and pinion closer or further from each other. So it's very important to not lose these things. Place you can. Yeah, it's not that bad. I have seen this retainer also fail on some models, but what we will need to do is take off this bearing. Also, there's another ring here that needs to be watched so we don't lose it, and then we can clean this surface and just pull it off. Most likely we'll be using the simplest method that's not recommended, smashing a chisel in it so the bearing starts to move, and that's how we'll get this old bearing off. So, looking at the housing, the seal, oh, looks like the seal also is packed full of grease. Maybe this could also just been cleaned and would be fine, but if we have a new one, let's just put in a new one. You can see that it's sitting flush with the surface, so we'll need to reinstall it back as the way it came.
K1200RS, my BMW, gonna ride it on tour with my friends.
So yeah, a little bit of corrosion, but it could have been fine. But since we're replacing the bearings, not a bad idea to replace this cheap part also.
Clean the carbs and got new jets. Got the new Wilburs on and made it look like the black beauty that it is. Gonna need new exhaust and brakes and lights, but she already starts right up. The power in this old gal.
So that's the seal done. The easiest part of the installation. So yep, that's nice. So we'll need to lubricate afterwards when we are installing it on the gears. So at least this part is done for now. And for the hardest part,
Exhaust and brakes and lights, but she already starts right up. The power in this old gal is a thrill. Gonna have to beef up the clutch. Gonna rebuild my BMW, my BMW K1200RS, my BMW. Gonna ride it on tour with my friends.
and is it off? It's off. So basically you need just to remove this bearing, clean everything up, and then you can start reinstalling new parts. Yeah, it's not that bad, it's making some noise. So out with the old, and still have to take you off, but for you I have something special. Yeah. And that's it. That easy. Oh, ooh, we just crushed the spacers. Hopefully we didn't do damage to them. So you can come up. Yeah. Oh, so it's one thick spacer. So now at least everything is off. So looking at the conical bearing, you can see there's some little pitting in the race, but the bearing needles look horrible. And you can see there's a lot of pitting in them. So yeah, it's a good thing that they're replacing both of them, just because it looks like this was the loud one. Yeah, this was the loud one, and basically this friend just joined in for the fun. Another gram for the junk pile. So there is a correct way of installing this bearing. Basically, you need to freeze the gear and heat up the bearing. But oh, now the hub really cooled off. Let's just put it in here. Let's not forget the distancer, and do the same for this one. So you can move aside for the moment. We need you. That's it. Yeah, you can see this is the amount that the flange needs to stick out. Yep, nice and tidy. Just give it a few whacks so it frees up everything, and we should be good for reinstallation too. There's no shims here because the bearing just rides where the bearing is. We have this shim, we have shim beneath it, so let's go back together and let's try to align everything. Should go smoothly because I cleaned all of the surfaces. So, now that we have got the bolts as guides in, let's just so, brake disc. We had stripped out Allen heads. Luckily I had the exact replacements, but just with the Torx head, so they'll do the same job, and at least the next guy who will be taking them out won't have a nightmare with them. So for this part, I don't see a reason to use Loctite here, because we're just holding the brake disc on, and afterwards when we bolt on the wheel it will hold on this same disc, so I don't see a reason for using Loctite here just to .21 Newton meters. That's one and two. So the magnet goes on the bottom here. So I'm gonna just use 80-90 GL5 gear oil, and at least this can be nicely poured straight in. I'm just getting it some rotation so at least the oil travels all about the gear. Let it settle a little bit and it should be right at the cover. And how are we doing? Yep, looks like we're good. So the oil is at the maximum level, so we should be touching the threads. That way you know that it's full of oil. And back you go. I loosened the wheel a little bit so we can more wiggle room to put you on.
Grease on my hands, dirt on my face, fixing beasts that time.
Clickety click. Click. And click.
down, sun at high noon. Wrenches clashing, echoes of steel, rust and chrome that time tried to
So, judging by the dirty oil in the differential, it hasn't been changed that often. So, to be on the safe side, let's just check what's happening in here.
breathing life into the battered and torn. Through the wrench, rebellion is born.
So, to get out the gearbox drain plug, you'll need a 14mm Allen key.
And roar. Dreams of the road they ask for.
And let's just pivot the bike straight so we get out all the oil. That should be balanced. We won't get out all of the oil, but at least we'll drain out most of it. And afterwards we'll just put it on the center stand and add the new oil to the proper level. Is it done? Ooh, we went over. And let's put back.
Souls till the last drop. I fix these machines, they hum and roar. Dreams of the road
Yeah, it's not the best oil, but it's not that bad.
life into the battered and torn. Through the wrench, rebellion is born.
Yep, looks like it's full. Draining. So that means it's at the perfect level. Oh, that's it. So the rear bearing has been replaced. It's much quieter than before, and there's no play in the rear. So here's the overall progress on the bike. We fully disassembled all of the plastics to get this wiring. The wiring now is in order and it's not a shame to look at it. And also we removed the ugly switches that were here and here, because when you're riding the bike, it's not the best thing to reach under the handlebars and try to switch the lights on and off. So took off that switch and added it here. So when you're riding, you can flip this switch and it turns on the light here. And we also relocated the light from here to here and added proper waterproof plugs for it. The crash bars on the sides, I will be remaking them, because the one good ones that we have, and you can see it's already been welded once. It doesn't fit this side anymore because the frame has been bent. This was on the left side, but since we moved a few things, you can see it lines up to this hole, but it doesn't line up anymore to this one. But I think I won't be using these bars, because looking at the broken one, it's very thin material, and you can see it's already been welded. So we'll be bending up some bars similarly like we did on the test run from the KLE millimeter tube, and bend it with the pipe benders that we have. And in my head, I think I'll be adding a flat steel bar here, so at least it has a nice base to it, and then bending a pipe from here over and here, so at least it extends out almost up till this point, so it protects the plastics at least if it lays on its side. Or we can put some lights on it, but I think I will just stick with the front lights and add this back as it was for the police bikes. And yeah, see the colored letters. I don't think if you can even see the red ones in there. But yeah, that's the situation. The bars, I have this socket here, so I don't have to fill another hole in the plastics, because as you remember, there was a huge gaping hole here, and added back material which it's plenty strong enough, and I cannot complain. This was the biggest patch because it was missing plastic from here to here, chunk missing from it, and I fixed that. Also, I glued up one of those ears back because it was also missing. Yeah, this one, that's made from scratch. And also fix a lot of mounting points on these side plastics. These ones I also glued on, so all the plastic shouldn't have any cracks. I'm just saying no cracks, but I'm looking at one, but at least that's a visual. The bike is screaming for a repaint because all of these small defects, to hide them as well as possible. But what can you ask? The bike has done 60,000 kilometers and looks like it's been a rough 60,000, because all the surfaces need a little bit of attention. But looking at the plastics, I think it's been already resprayed once, but I can be mistaken. You can see here also the paint isn't matching because this is the only thing that I had at the moment, and all of the plastics should come off, be repainted. So what else? Yeah, we took apart the shocks, cleaned them, added brand new seals for the telescopic forks, so at least it won't be leaking oil and basically covering the whole bike with it. The bolts, yeah, some of the bolts aren't matching. It looks like from the factory it uses Torx bits, but so yeah, some places still use Allen heads. So basically I made an order from the Torx bits for the proper specs. Oh, that's loose, that needs to be tightened. Ordered the Torx bits so all the bolts match as they should. About the phone mount, yeah, I left it as it is. Initially I thought mounting it differently, but I added a little bit of strength. I think it wasn't properly I don't think it was properly latched in with that mount, so it was a little bit loose, but I think it will do. And also we rewired the plug so it has a nice waterproof plug, and it is switching on and off with the ignition. If the ignition is off, it's not doing anything. That's done. We did an oil change on the engine, spark plugs, because as you saw maybe on the pictures, if I added them, two of the porcelains were cracked, so that wasn't helping us. And the injectors, two of the injectors were gummed up, so that wasn't helping our situation. We replaced the rear bearing on the rear differential, and also the oil in the gearbox. And that's it for the latest progress. Oh yeah, and I added rivets to the license plate so it's not on bolts, so it's more secure. And the last thing I will do is to replace these brake lines on the front. I have an order placed on them, but they will most likely arrive only in January. So that will be another video, replacing the front brake lines, and maybe adding some modern lights, because these look like cheap Chinese ones, but they produce some light, so can't complain about that. So that's overall progress. Oh, also yeah, the mirror is a nice thing because it's annoying driving without one mirror, so you have to look all over your shoulder. It's not a pleasant thing to do, but that's replaced with the original one. Luckily luckily the mirror was here locally and it was easy to get. So that's the overall progress on the bike. Oh yeah, he also aligns windshield, so one of these tabs, I think this tab was bent and it was putting unnecessary pressure on the windshield, and it was too hard on it. But now it looks like it's all good, everything seems to be in order, and we can just take the bike for a test drive and see how everything goes. At least now the heated grips will work, and I won't freeze my hands off in this leather. So that's overall progress, and we'll see how the playlist goes and see what other things we can do. So that's it for the moment.